The handcuffs clicked shut with a sound that Federal Judge Denise Holloway had heard thousands of times from the bench, but never once from this side. She stood beside her silver Lexus LS in the parking lot of a suburban grocery store, her wrists bound behind her back, her groceries abandoned in a cart that was slowly rolling toward a drainage grate. Sunday afternoon, shoppers had stopped mid-stride to watch, their phones emerging like synchronized weapons, recording the moment a woman in a cashmere cardigan and pearl earrings was treated like a violent offender. She had done nothing wrong. She had committed no crime. She had simply existed in the wrong place while being the wrong color, and Officer Kevin Brandt had decided that was enough. The September sun hung low and golden over the Westbrook Commons shopping center, casting long shadows across a scene that would eventually be viewed over 40 million times online. The smell of fresh bread drifted from the bakery entrance nearby, a strange domesticity that contrasted sharply with the aggression unfolding in the parking lot. Families with children hurried past, some shielding young eyes from the spectacle, others lingering with the morbid curiosity that accompanies witnessed injustice. It had begun 12 minutes earlier, when Judge Holloway exited the store with a cart containing ingredients for her grandson's birthday dinner. She had loaded the bags into her trunk, returned the cart to the corral like she always did, and was reaching for her door handle when the patrol car appeared seemingly from nowhere, blocking her exit with deliberate precision. Officer Kevin Brandt emerged with his hand already on his holster, his body language broadcasting threat before he spoke a single word. He was 39 years old, 14 years with the Westbrook Police Department, and possessed a disciplinary file thick enough to require its own folder. His partner, Officer Michelle Santos, remained in the vehicle, her expression unreadable behind sunglasses that reflected the afternoon glare. "Step away from the vehicle," Brandt commanded. Judge Holloway turned slowly, keys still in her hand. Her judicial instincts immediately catalogued the situation. No lights activated before approach, hand on weapon without visible threat, command issued before identification or explanation. Every procedural standard was being violated in real time. "Good afternoon, officer. Is there a problem?" I said, "Step away from the vehicle, now. The registration is in the glove compartment. My license is in my purse, which is on the front seat. May I retrieve them?" "Do not move. Do not touch anything in that vehicle." The contradiction was immediate and intentional. He demanded documents but forbade her from accessing them. It was a trap she had seen prosecutors describe in countless testimonies, an impossible standard designed to justify escalation regardless of compliance. "Officer, I cannot provide documents if I cannot access them. How would you like me to proceed?" Brandt's jaw tightened. "Are you getting smart with me? I am asking a clarifying question so that I can comply with your instructions." He moved closer, close enough that she could smell coffee and something sour on his breath. "Let me tell you how this works. You do not ask questions. You do not give me attitude. You stand there and you answer what I ask. Understood?" Judge Holloway had faced down hostile witnesses, belligerent attorneys, and defendants who threatened her life from across the courtroom. She had learned that true authority does not need to shout. She met his eyes with the same steady gaze that had made powerful men uncomfortable for decades. "I understand. I am waiting for your instructions." Something flickered in Brandt's expression, a frustration at finding no purchase for his aggression. He turned to his partner. "Santos, run the plates." Officer Santos finally exited the vehicle, approaching with notably less hostility. She entered the plate number into her mobile terminal, waited, and then looked up with an expression that suggested she already knew where this was heading. "Plates come back clean." Vehicle registered to Denise M. Holloway, address in Ridgewood Heights. Ridgewood Heights was among the most affluent neighborhoods in the county. Brandt's face twisted. Could be a stolen identity, could be a cloned plate. Santos hesitated. "Kevin, the system shows no reports matching this vehicle. No stolen vehicle alerts in the region." "I know what I saw." Brandt turned back to Judge Holloway. "Where did you get this car?" "I purchased it from Lexus of Westbrook 3 years ago. I have the title at home and can provide dealer documentation if necessary." "Sure you did. And what do you do for a living that you can afford a car like this?" The question hung in the air, loaded with implication. Judge Holloway felt the weight of every assumption packed into those words. She understood, with the clarity of lived experience, exactly what he was asking. What he was really asking. "I am a judge." Brandt laughed. It was a short, ugly sound. "A judge. Right. What kind of judge?" "I serve on the United States District Court for the Eastern District." "Federal judge." He said it like a punchline. "Lady, I have heard a lot of stories, but that might be the best one yet." "It is not a story. It is my profession. My credentials are in my vehicle, if you would allow me to retrieve them." "What is in your vehicle is evidence in a stolen car investigation. You are not touching anything." Santos shifted uncomfortably. "Kevin, maybe we should just let her show us." "I got this, Michelle." He dismissed her with a wave, then refocused on Judge Holloway with renewed aggression. "Here is what is going to happen. You are going to turn around and place your hands behind your back." "On what grounds?" "Suspicion of vehicle theft. Possession of suspected stolen property. And since you want to keep running your mouth, obstruction of a police investigation." Judge Holloway remained motionless. "I have not obstructed anything. I have attempted to comply with every instruction you have given. I have offered to provide documentation multiple times. You have refused to allow me to do so. Turn around, now! I am requesting that you contact your supervisor before proceeding. You do not get to make requests." He grabbed her arm, spinning her toward the vehicle with enough force that her shoulder impacted the doorframe. "Hands behind your back!" The handcuffs closed. The arrest was made. And somewhere in the gathering crowd, at least 7 phones were recording everything. They transported her to the Westbrook police station, where she was photographed, fingerprinted, and placed in a holding cell despite her repeated requests to contact her chambers. Her personal effects were confiscated, including the federal judicial identification that would have resolved the situation instantly if anyone had bothered to examine it properly. She sat in that cell for 4 hours. It was Sergeant Patricia Webb who finally pieced together what had happened. She had arrived for her evening shift, reviewed the booking log, and noticed something unusual about the name. A quick database search confirmed what Judge Holloway had been stating all along. Within minutes, Sergeant Webb was standing outside the holding cell with an expression that mixed horror with professional calculation. "Judge Holloway, I am Sergeant Patricia Webb. I am deeply sorry for what has occurred here today. You are being released immediately." The walk from the holding cell to the front desk took 90 seconds. In that time, Judge Holloway observed Officer Brandt at his station, laughing at something on his phone, completely unaware of the storm gathering around him. Sergeant Webb escorted her to a private office, returned her belongings, and offered apologies that were sincere but ultimately insufficient. Judge Holloway accepted them with grace, then asked a single question. "I would like a copy of all body camera footage from this incident. I assume that can be arranged through proper channels." The sergeant's face told her everything she needed to know about what that footage would reveal. The lawsuit was filed within the month. Judge Holloway retained civil rights attorneys from a firm renowned for police accountability cases. The complaint alleged false arrest, unlawful detention, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, racial discrimination, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. It named Officer Kevin Brandt individually and the Westbrook Police Department institutionally. Discovery revealed a pattern so egregious that even seasoned attorneys expressed shock. Brandt had been the subject of 23 formal complaints over his 14-year career, 18 of which involved allegations of racial bias. He had been disciplined exactly once, a written warning for using excessive force during a traffic stop that left a teenager with a fractured wrist. His supervisors had consistently protected him, burying complaints, coaching him through investigations, and allowing him to continue operating with impunity. The body camera footage became the centerpiece of the case. It showed Brandt approaching with his hand on his weapon before any threat assessment. It showed him refusing to verify documentation. It showed him laughing dismissively when Judge Holloway stated her profession. Most damning of all, it captured a conversation between Brandt and Santos during the transport, words he clearly believed would never be heard by anyone outside the vehicle. Another one with delusions of grandeur, he had said. Nice car, nice clothes. Thinks she can talk her way out of anything. Probably drug money. They always think they are so smart. They. The word echoed through the courtroom when the footage was played. The trial lasted 9 days. Judge Holloway testified with the same measured precision she brought to her own courtroom, describing the arrest without embellishment, allowing the facts to speak with their own devastating eloquence. Community members testified about similar encounters with Brandt, a pattern of behavior that had terrorized the same neighborhoods for over a decade. Expert witnesses dissected every procedural violation, every constitutional breach, every moment where de-escalation could have prevented the entire incident. Brandt's defense attempted to portray the arrest as a reasonable response to suspicious circumstances. Under cross-examination, he could not identify what those suspicious circumstances actually were. He could not explain why he refused to verify documentation. He could not justify his dismissive response to Judge Holloway's identification. He sat in the witness chair, stripped of his badge and his authority, and looked exactly like what he was, a bully who had finally met consequence. The jury deliberated for 6 hours before returning their verdict. They found in favor of Judge Holloway on all counts and awarded $910,000 in damages, one of the largest individual civil rights verdicts in the county's history. The forewoman, a retired teacher, later told reporters that the deliberation had not been about the amount, but about sending a message that could not be ignored. Officer Kevin Brandt was terminated immediately following the verdict. Criminal charges followed, including civil rights violations and filing false reports. He was convicted on multiple counts and sentenced to 3 years in state prison, his law enforcement certification permanently revoked. The pension he had spent 14 years earning was forfeited. Officer Michelle Santos, who had failed to intervene despite recognizing the wrongful arrest, was suspended and demoted. She eventually resigned rather than face continued disciplinary proceedings. Her career in law enforcement effectively ended. The Westbrook Police Department entered into a consent decree requiring federal oversight, mandatory bias training, and the establishment of an independent review board for all complaints. The chief of police retired under pressure, his legacy permanently stained by the systemic failures that had enabled officers like Brandt to operate unchecked. Judge Denise Holloway returned to her bench 3 days after the arrest, her docket waiting, her duty unchanged. She donated her entire settlement to organizations supporting wrongful arrest victims and police reform advocacy. She began speaking publicly about her experience, using her platform to amplify voices that had been telling these stories for years without being believed. At a press conference following the verdict, she stood before cameras with the same composure she had displayed in that parking lot. What happened to me happens every day to people who do not wear robes, who do not have credentials, who do not have the resources to fight back, she said. My experience was not unique. It was simply visible. The question we must ask ourselves is how many times this has happened in darkness, without cameras, without consequence, without justice, and what we are going to do to change that. The grocery store parking lot where she was arrested now features a small memorial plaque placed by community members after a grassroots fundraising campaign. It bears no names, only a simple inscription. Here, assumption met accountability. Officer Brandt believed the badge entitled him to treat certain people as inherently suspicious. He believed power flowed in only one direction. He believed his prejudice would be protected by a system designed to shield men like him. He was wrong about every single thing. If this story moved you, take a moment to hit that like button and help more people see it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what accountability means to you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because these stories deserve to be told. And if you are not already subscribed, join this community and tap that notification bell so you never miss another story where the truth finally comes to light. Thank you for watching.